2, 1.
On Thursday, July 7, 1977, at approximately 12:30 p.m., a 77-year-old white female was shopping at Colonial Plaza in Orlando. Mrs. Richards was approached by a white female who told her that she had just found a bag of money containing $21,000 in cash and a note indicating the money was illegal, as it was unreported tax money. The subject then told Mrs. Richards that she had a friend who was a lawyer and asked Mrs. Richards to wait while she called him. Upon returning, the white female subject was accompanied by a black female who identified herself as Angie Williams, secretary to Attorney Goldberg. The white female subject indicated that Miss Williams was instructed to advertise the found sum for 30 days and to pay the taxes on said amount. Taxes would amount to $3,000, leaving a total of $18,000 to be divided among them in equal shares of $6,000 for each participant. But before doing that, Attorney Goldberg wanted to see if he could make a transaction of shares of stock in a computer. He requested that each participant withdraw $8,000 from their personal accounts and return to a parking space on Hillcrest Street. Miss Richards was accompanied by a white female, went to the Orange County Federal Credit Union and withdrew $8,000. They then went to the Sun Bank at Colonial Plaza and cashed a check, then went on to the parking lot on Hillcrest Street where the black female was waiting. The white female asked Mrs. Richards for her part of the money so that serial numbers could be entered into a computer. The white female was described to be about 35 years old, 5'5", weighing 130 pounds. The black female was about 35 years old, dark hair, 5'4", weighing 130 pounds. Mrs. Richards gave the white female the money as she went into the building. Upon returning, the two women responsible told Mrs. Richards that Mr. Goldberg wanted to meet her personally to return her the money. How could anyone fall for something as ridiculous as this? It could never happen to me. That's exactly what Mrs. Richards said right before she was conned out of $8,000. Crimewatch is offering a reward of up to $1,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of this or any other unsolved felony crime in the Central Florida area. If you have any information, call Crimewatch at 849-2482. Outside of the Orlando dialing area, dial operator and ask for WX2482 toll-free. No one needs to know who you are because with Crimewatch there are no names, no faces, and no hassles. These are the Riviera Apartments on Mercy Drive between Silver Star and Colonial Drive in Orlando. It was here on Friday morning, January 6, 1978. O.C. McCoy, her son Napoleon Warren, and her sister Mary Adkins left from apartment 26 at the Riviera Apartments, 1625 Mercy Drive in Orlando. O.C. was wearing a multicolored hooded zipper sweater, tan pants, and light brown shoes. Napoleon was last seen wearing dark green trousers, a long-sleeved multicolored shirt which depicted football players, and was wearing blue and red striped tennis shoes. Mary was last seen in a yellow short-sleeved blouse, black with multicolored flowered skirt, and brown high-heeled shoes. The trio were last seen walking west toward Mercy Drive in the early morning. 4 days later, all three were reported missing to the Orlando Police Department on January 10, 1978, as no one had any knowledge of their whereabouts. On February 1, 1978, 3 bodies were found just below Lake Ruby, now on your screen, in an area east of the Apopka Vineland Road and north of the Lake Buena Vista interchange off Interstate 4. Today, orange tags mark the burial sites in a heavily wooded area that had been in the past used for dumping. The 3 bodies were later identified as Mrs. McCoy, her son, and her sister. O.C. McCoy was a black female, 24 years of age, 5 foot 3 inches tall, and weighed 122 pounds. Her 4-year-old son, Napoleon Warren, stood 3 foot 1 inch tall, 20 pounds, with black hair. Mary Adkins was described as a black female, 22 years of age, 5 foot 3 inches tall, 94 pounds, and dark hair. It is believed that the victims were killed shortly after they disappeared. January 6th to February 1st, a time gap the detectives hope that you'll be able to fill. Crimewatch is offering a reward of up to $1,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of this or any other unsolved felony crime in the Central Florida area. If you have any information, call Crimewatch at 849-2482. Outside of the Orlando dialing area, dial operator and ask for WX2482 toll-free. No one needs to know who you are because with Crimewatch there are no names, no faces, and no hassles. Kenneth Edward Pearson left his home alone in his 1970 Chevrolet pickup truck at approximately 6 p.m. on May 1, 1976. Pearson told his friends that he was going to Lake George to test the motor on his commercial fishing boat to ensure that it was in good shape before going out the following day. Witnesses on Lake George observed Pearson in his boat anchored near the lake's edge at approximately 7 p.m. Pearson was not seen again until 12:05 a.m. May 2, 1976, at which time he was struck by a northbound Seaboard Coastline train near the junction of Old State Road 17 and the Seaboard Coastline track, approximately 3 miles north of Pearson. It is still unknown as to how Pearson arrived at the point where he was struck by the train. An autopsy indicated that Pearson was alive when he was struck. Kenneth Edward Pearson was a 41-year-old divorced white male. He stood 5'11", weighed 150 pounds, and had light brown hair. He was last seen dressed in a blue Levi jacket, short-sleeve pullover t-shirt, and brown ankle-high boots. Pearson's truck and commercial fishing boat were found approximately 4 miles west of here at the Old Martin Fish Camp on the bank of Lake George. Crimewatch is offering a reward of up to $1,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of this or any other unsolved felony crime in the Central Florida area. If you have any information, call Crimewatch at 849-2482. Outside of the Orlando dialing area, dial operator and ask for WX2482 toll-free. No one needs to know who you are because with Crimewatch there are no names, no faces, and no hassles. On Saturday, March 22, 1975, John Harden, his wife, and small child reside at 386 Osceola Street, Clermont, Florida. Returning home, the family had just been to Groveland, where he had completed a night refrigeration service call. Calling it a night, the Hardens entered the house and prepared for bed. At 11:08 p.m., John looked out of his window and saw his equipment truck on fire. He proceeded immediately downstairs and began an effort to put out the flames. The fire still burning, he told his wife that someone had set fire to his truck and to run in for the baby. Mrs. Harden heard a blast and found her husband lying on the ground. John died a few minutes later from multiple wounds around the upper chest and face area. An autopsy revealed that the victim had been shot with a shotgun. A brutal ambush and no motive. Crimewatch is offering a reward of up to $1,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of this or any other unsolved felony crime in the Central Florida area. If you have any information, call Crimewatch at 849-2482. Outside of the Orlando dialing area, dial operator and ask for WX2482 toll-free. No one needs to know who you are because with Crimewatch there are no names, no faces, and no hassles. On the morning of June 4th, 1974, Thomas Reed Pageant, a local Brevard County man, borrowed $5 from his landlord and stated he was going to hitchhike to Key West to visit a relative. From that point on, police were only able to guess as to what happened to the young white male. Around midnight on June 5th, 1974, Pageant was apparently hitchhiking on US 1 in Grant, Florida. At its intersection with Shell Pit Road, Mr. Pageant was apparently going to be picked up. When he approached the car, 3 black males and 1 white female bailed out of the vehicle. All 4 beat Mr. Pageant, causing brain damage and hemorrhaging. The 3 males were tall and slender, while the white female was 6 or 7 months pregnant. They were driving a late model 60 Chrysler car. The victim who was robbed in the attack died later at the Brevard Hospital, never again regaining consciousness. These 4 left Thomas Pageant here to die. Crimewatch is offering a reward of up to $1,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of this or any other unsolved felony crime in the Central Florida area. If you have any information, call Crimewatch at 849-2482. Outside of the Orlando dialing area, dial up. No one needs to know who you are because with Crimewatch there are no names, no faces, and no hassles. pattern of daytime residential burglaries has developed in Orlando's west side. At approximately 7:25 a.m. on Monday, September 19, 1977, Edith Bryant left her home on Monte Carlo Trail in Orlando for work. Sometime between 9:30 and 11:30 a.m., a black male was seen cutting Mrs. Bryant's yard. The man was described by a witness as being between 28 and 32 years of age, standing 6 foot to 6 foot 4. He was wearing a multicolored shirt with cut-off sleeves at the elbow and dark-colored jeans. Tall and thin, the suspect had a very short, low-style haircut. He was driving a small, older model white pickup, much like the trucks used by the city of Orlando. Completing his unsolicited job of cutting the yard, the suspect then apparently placed a lawnmower in the back of the truck and made his way to the victim's front door, carrying what appeared to be a brown paper bag. Knocking on the front door, he ensured the house was unoccupied and apparently left. But a short time later, the suspect once again approached the front door and, seeing no one around, gained entry to the house with a swift kick to the lower portion of the front door. Inside, the suspect removed nearly $500 worth of goods, including clothes which could easily have been carried off in paper bags and pillowcases. This is only one of at least 7 recent Orlando cases in which the front door was kicked in. Crimewatch is offering a reward of up to $1,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of this or any other unsolved felony crime in the Central Florida area. If you have any information, call Crimewatch at 849-2482. Outside of the Orlando dialing area, dial operator and ask for WX2482 toll-free. No one needs to know who you are because with Crimewatch there are no names, no... This week's episode concerns a missing person last seen at Forest City Road and Lake Avenue in northwest Orange County. Susan Earls, a single white female, age 18, 4'11", blue eyes, long brown hair, wearing gaucho-type blue jeans, an orange shirt, white sweater, sandals, and carrying a brown shoulder purse, was last seen getting into a white Ford van, according to her boyfriend, who was driving a brown Vega. Sometime after midnight, just over a month ago, on Friday, October 21st, 1977, was the last time Susan Earls was seen. Our reenactment ended on October 21st, just less than 2 months ago. Crimewatch is offering a reward of up to $1,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of this or any other unsolved felony crime in the Central Florida area. As an additional incentive, Crimewatch will pay an extra $250 if information is received within 1 week of this airing. If you have any information, call Crimewatch at 849-2482. Outside of the Orlando dialing area, dial operator and ask for WX2482 toll-free. No one needs to know who you are because with Crimewatch there are no names, no faces, and no hassles. A recent rash of burglaries and prowlers have been plaguing residents in the downtown and southwest sections of Orlando. The suspect utilizes a flashlight to find his way around in the early morning hours. One such break-in occurred around 3:30 in the morning in a downtown Orlando apartment. The suspect entered the house from the back stairs. Quietly approaching the bedroom in which the victim and her 2 children were sleeping, the suspect began sexually molesting the woman. When she awoke, the flashlight was shown in her face in an attempt to blind the victim. Grabbing her purse, the suspect then walked to the north bedroom window, the point at which entry was originally gained. As he was exiting, the victim picked up a baby walker and struck the suspect on the leg. She then tried to chase down the suspect, losing sight of him. Between February and October of this year, 27 similar incidents have occurred in the central area of Orlando. Some are with flashlights and some are not. Some gain entry and some merely prowl. In one instance, the suspect appeared completely nude. The residents in these areas are beginning to ask who's next. With your help, we can solve this problem. Crimewatch is offering a reward of up to $1,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of this or any other unsolved felony crime in the Central Florida area. If you have any information, call Crimewatch at 849-2482. Outside of the Orlando dialing area, dial operator and ask for WX2482 toll-free. No one needs to know who you are because with Crimewatch there are no names, no faces, and no hassles. Nearly 2 years ago, a double murder occurred in an orange grove off 441 north of Apopka. On January 31st, 1976, two white males, Ronald Leake, 18, and Michael Wallen, 20, were hitchhiking to Florida from Martinsburg, West Virginia. They arrived in Orlando Tuesday morning, February 3rd last year, and then hitchhiked a ride to Daytona Beach on I-4. At 5 p.m. that same day, they called Martinsburg from a payphone outside an unknown restaurant in Daytona Beach. They then hitchhiked back to Orlando via I-4. At 1 a.m. that Tuesday night, the two victims entered the Little Food Town store in Plymouth at 441 and Plymouth Sorrento Road, buying a Coke and a cup of coffee. That's the last time both young men were seen alive, except for their killer or killers. 7 hours later, in the early morning hours, they were found shot to death lying in an orange grove, 1 mile north of the store. Their backpack and duffel bags were missing. Robbery may have been the motive. Knows who killed Ronald Leake and Michael Wallen, and it's time they came forward. Crimewatch is offering a reward of up to $1,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of this or any other unsolved felony crime in the Central Florida area. If you have any information, call Crimewatch at 849-2482. Outside of the Orlando dialing area, dial operator and ask for WX2482 toll-free. No one needs to know who you are because with Crimewatch there are no names, no faces, and no hassles. This is the Tangelo Park subdivision on the southwest corner of Orange County. Since January of this year, sheriff's deputies have investigated 214 burglaries and larcenies, responding to over 700 calls for service. The average has been 3 burglaries per day in this subdivision, and most of them during the daylight hours. The burglars have stolen everything from couches, TV consoles, dining room chairs and tables, beds, rugs, refrigerators, and the list goes on. They have been stealing everything and anything that can be carried out. No one in this 27th Street area claims to have seen or heard anything or anyone out of the ordinary. After hundreds of burglaries in one small area, it is time someone came forward. Someone has to have seen something. Come forward now, or it's only going to continue. Crimewatch is offering a reward of up to $1,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of this or any other unsolved felony crime in the Central Florida area. If you have any information, call Crimewatch at 849-2482. Outside of the Orlando dialing area, dial operator and ask for WX2482 toll-free. No one needs to know who you are because with Crimewatch there are no names, no faces, and no hassles. At Interstate 4 and 434, 7 days ago on Thursday, December 29, 1977, the Longwood Village Pharmacy in the Longwood Plaza fell prey to a narcotics robbery in the early evening hours. It was around 5:45 p.m. when 2 white males entered the store. One went to the pharmacy counter in the rear, producing a snub-nosed revolver and demanding drugs, while the other remained at the front as a lookout. Just finishing his tour of duty as a special deputy, 57-year-old George File was making a stop on his way home for a prescription. Thinking the uniformed deputy was responding to their situation, the lookout man panicked and fired a shot at the Seminole County Deputy as he was entering the store. Wounded, File returned fire, only to be fatally hit again in the face. As the gunman fled the front of the store, he took the deputy's service revolver and disappeared, apparently on foot. With police rolling up on the robbery, the other suspect walked out the rear of the store and commandeered a vehicle, whereupon he drove to the nearby Longwood Village apartments. Meeting a dead end, he abandoned the car and apparently fled on foot. The two responsible were both white males, between 45 and 50, standing 5'8". One had short hair, balding and slightly gray, wearing dark slacks, light blue shirt, and dark jacket. He had a deformed right hand, which appeared to be badly burned, with the top of the thumb missing. The gunman stood 5'6", weighing around 120 pounds. With short brown hair, he was between 40 and 45, even though his physical appearance could lead one to believe he was a juvenile. Exactly 1 week ago, a 26-year law enforcement veteran was gunned down simply because of the clothes he was wearing. Over 100 tips have been received at the Seminole County Sheriff's Department, but to no avail. Authorities hope that if you realize that you can remain anonymous, the key people will come forward in this case. Deputies are desperately looking for a 12 to 13-year-old white male who stood on this corner and saw this thing happen. If you have any information or if you know this young man, call Crimewatch, 849-2482. Outside of the Orlando dialing area, dial operator and ask for WX2482, toll free. No one needs to know who you are because with Crimewatch there are no names, no faces, and no hassles. If you recognize this composite or think you have any information about this or any other unsolved felony crime in the Central Florida area, call Crimewatch, 849-2482. Outside of the old shit.
I hope it was a new one. Okay, let's clean it up. Here. One for you, nerd. I'm Jerry Lewis. I knew something was up. Mike was sitting back there dying laughing.
Was anyone else laughing?
Just you.
I thought everyone else was crying.
We have a towel.
No, we didn't bring